We will start at the source, whatever that may be. Geographers and cartographers need a river to have a source, but settling on one isn't always easy. A river has multiple tributaries. How to choose which is the trunk, the start of which will be designated the river's source? Is it the longest tributary, the one with the greatest catchment, the one carrying the largest volume, or that with the highest elevation? The geographers and cartographers and surveyors are forced to choose. But for this river, the choice is too hard. There are two tributaries, each rising on the escarpment of the Great Dividing Range, about 140 kilometres as the crow flies, northwest of Brisbane. The first tributary flows around one side of a small mountain, Mount Stanley, and the second flows round the other side till they join just south of it. The measuring people say, "Let there be two branches of the Brisbane River," and they name them so, the Western Branch and the Eastern Branch. They ignore the claims of downstream Kooyar Creek, with its greater catchment, and Lockyer Creek, the longest of the tributaries. None of the tributaries care. So, two branches. From the start of which, then, does one begin measuring? And from which point exactly? And how does one factor in, when measuring, the curvature of the earth, and the drop of waterfalls, and the passage of a river when it splits around an island? To say nothing of the changes over time of a sinuous river's course. The river doesn't care. The books say this river is 344 kilometres long, so let's accept that. But let's also accept it's an estimate, and that when the next flood gouges away a bank or bursts through an inside bend, it will be wrong. So let this be a 344-kilometre walk along the river's banks, sleeping each night by its side, within sight or sound of it. I choose the start of the Western Branch, or rather, it is chosen for me. An old riverman I've come to know says the river starts on a property up there, a farm owned by his cousin, high, windswept, scoured by 100 gullies. That's where the source is. Let me take you. The riverman, Graham, is in his late 70s and has worked properties and machinery all his life. His home is in a village, Moore, at the foot of the range, though he also has a farm on the river nearby. He is from a river family, a term I'd heard often enough while planning the walk. There are river families all through this country. Families who've lived on the river for 3, 4, 5 generations. The oldest families trace their river links back to the 19th century, and one or two to when the Ginnaburra and Jaggera were forced off their land in the 1840s. That's a while, but it shrinks when set beside how long the river's first peoples lived here, and is the mere blink of a geological eye when one thinks of the age of the river itself.